Right, for further analysis, I'm joined by Lee Jones. He's a professor of political economy and international relations at Queen Mary, University of London. Professor, good morning to you, I believe it is. So 7 prime ministers in 10 years, does this so-called revolving door, as our producer put it, still shock global markets?
Well, not so much. I mean, you mentioned in your introduction that the pound has rebounded slightly, and now we'll be looking for borrowing costs, government borrowing costs, which have been edging up considerably under the Starmer government and probably will edge up a bit more as bond traders look for further opportunities to profit at the UK's expense.
And Professor, public borrowing soared way past forecasts last month. Is the next Prime Minister going to have to abandon Starmer's spending limits?
It's very unlikely that they'll do so. The most likely person to take over from Starmer is Andy Burnham, who has previously quite rightly drawn attention to the deep-rooted problems of the British political economy and the fact that for 40 years we've had an untrammelled neoliberal experiment which has hollowed out democratic politics and led to long-term stagnation in the economy in the long term. And Burnham himself has said we shouldn't be in hock to the bond markets. In other words, we shouldn't be so tied by fiscal rules and to the latest gyrations in what bond markets are willing to lend to the government on, that we should take a bold approach to economic policy to try to get the state involved in promoting growth and productivity. I mean, surely that is actually the right direction of travel. But precisely because this is not news to the ears or music to the ears of the bond markets, Burnham has spent quite a lot of time trying to reassure the bond markets that he's not going to do anything different when he comes to power. So he's pledged to follow the current government's fiscal rules. And if he does so without any amendments, there's unlikely to be a significant change in the direction of economic policy. Perhaps some extra borrowing for investment, which is supposedly compatible with the second fiscal rule. But it's not going to be a major change of direction. And so consequently, it's hard to see how the government is going to really turn things around, because Burnham is fundamentally right that it's 40 years of neoliberal economic policy and governments tying their hands with things like the fiscal rules that has led to the sclerosis in the economy that we see, to the hollowing out of democratic politics, to the loss of faith in government, and to the endless revolving door of leadership that we've seen over the past decade.
Mr. Burnham does have a more left-leaning reputation. Do you think the financial markets will buy his commitment to Chancellor Rachel Reeves' restrictive spending limits?
Well, I guess they'll wait and see what he actually does if and when he becomes leader. I expect there may be a contest. There are other candidates who want to succeed Starmer, and so there could be a contested process over the summer. And I suppose that long period of uncertainty will lead gilts to edge up slightly over that period. As for whether Andy Burnham is a left-wing figure, well, it depends who you ask and on what day. Andy Burnham sometimes comes out with apparently left-leaning rhetoric. At other times, he's committed to fiscal rules. He did serve ultimately as a minister in the Blair government, which is, of course, as centrist and neoliberal as you get. I think anybody that thinks there's going to be a wild change of direction under Andy Burnham is probably deluding themselves. Andy Burnham does not seem to have an alternative vision for the country. He doesn't seem to have a cadre of people around him that can implement that vision. And of course, he wasn't at the helm of the Labour Party when it was elected in 2024 without any governing vision, which is why we've ended up where we are. It seems to me that a change of leadership at this stage in the Parliament is not going to lead to a dramatic change of direction. But we just have to wait and see.
Interesting. Professor, appreciate the conversation. Thank you for your time.